Hello, tested members. Adam Savage here in my cave with a live commentary about a build that feels a long time ago now, which is my bear suit that I made for Comic-Con in San Diego. I made this bear suit without having an expectation of why I wanted to cosplay as a bear. I've just always wanted a really good bear suit. There's a fake bear suit in the movie there's a fake bear suit in the book Hotel New Hampshire, which is also in the movie Hotel New Hampshire. I read the book, I saw the movie. For some reason, it kickstarted some little part of my brain that I didn't satisfy until I made this costume. And to give some justification for wearing a bear costume at Comic-Con, I decided to drag around the corpse of Leo DiCaprio clutching his Oscar. It's still hanging near my front door of the cave here. I'm really happy with this build. It was a fun one. I didn't know where it was going when I was in the middle of it, and I could not be happier with how it turned out. And all that being said, which is a little bit of a spoiler, let's get started. Here we go. The spoiler is just that I like the build. Oh my goodness, look at me, 10 pounds heavier than I am now. We all notice the things that nobody else really cares about. Yeah, apparently I'm giving this introduction after having completed some of the suit. What you can see, the black stuff around the arms and legs there is Velcro. Oh, and there's me walking in another furry suit, my Wookiee. Oh yeah, I made a pot-bellied bear to be sure. Right, so the arms and the legs all Velcro on. What I can tell you now is that the bear has been sitting, wow, these sketches are great. I mean, I'm just really happy with how this whole sketching process went with the bear. He's sitting up on a platform in the front of my cave. The picture of me with just the cape is incredible. And that Velcro is letting go. So one of the things I'll need to do with this costume eventually is put it back together and sew it all, because some of it's just Velcro right now. Oh man, I love those feet. There's a way in which the fur moves. This is about the longest nap artificial fur that you can get. I think this is a 4-inch nap. It's 4-inch long hair. It might even be slightly less than that, but boy, it moves in a way that's just great. Is it totally clear that I was kind of shooting for Bear in the Big Blue House? That's one of my favorite animal costumes ever made. I love that Bear in the Big Blue House costume. I actually met a couple of the makers of that suit not too long ago. Oh, right. Now, so now here's me working out how big the bear's head might be. Oh, that's a diagram of the fur, of the way the fur lies. I mean, a lot of these drawings were just me trying to put the various parts of the costume in my head so I understood them. That's the stainless steel boning. This is this a pre-rattan build? Is this pre-Totoro? No, it is? After. Wow, this is after Totoro. Fascinating. Oh yeah, my polycarbonate bear nails. Bear claws just like terrify me when I see those shots of the bears smacking salmon out of the river. So I was thinking of those when I made those giant claws. I really like the gesture of the suit. I will also tell you that while we're going to spend some time on the head of this bear in this video, that is the part of this costume that I hope to redo someday, because I don't think the head of my bear costume is big enough. I think a bear of that size, of that portly comportment, would have a much bigger, wider head. And if you look at some bear pictures, their heads are like, my God, they're like twice as big as a medicine ball. Every time I take the bear costume off, it looks like I'm being birthed by a headless bear. Yeah, you can see the buckram. My goodness, look how This is a long time ago, I'm realizing, because I can see how few tools are in the shop at this moment. Wow. Oh yeah, these bare feet. Um, the impetus for actually doing this is this picture of a bear sitting down at the Academy of Sciences at Steinhardt here in San Francisco. There's this picture of a bear, and you can see the soles of his feet, and they're so compelling. They're so kind of human that I decided to embark and make my own. So I made these bucks out of MDF, and I wet molded leather over them. Look at how good that looks. The wire is to hold it in place while it wet molded. Then I put a Skechers shoe in there and backfilled it with some expanding foam, and then covered it with the fur. Small note, one of my kids saw the Skechers slip-on sneakers while I was doing this build, and he was like, "Dad, you're not wearing those Skechers sneakers, are you?" Like, it was mortifying for him, the idea that I even owned a pair. And I was like, no, they're for my costume. I'm going to put them in foam. And he was like, oh, thank goodness. So here is a bear head blank. You can buy head blanks of most reasonably common animals and many uncommon animals at taxidermy supply. And they're relatively inexpensive. Daryl the Devil Deer from Simone Yatch's Simone's Got Problems that we made together. She got Daryl from a hunting taxidermy kind of site, and his base model was less than you would expect. So the stuff that I'm holding on to here is this stuff, it's effectively a thermoplastic netting. When you get it warm, you can actually mold it into shapes. And here I am, like, trying to figure out how to get the right shape. But again, my form wasn't good enough. I mean, it's a fine form. It's good enough, it's just not big enough. I really do want to remake this from scratch at some point. I'd also like the bear to be able to open his mouth. I want to see that big. I actually have taxidermy bear teeth in a box up on my uncompleted projects shelves. Yeah, that's a very comfortable way to wear this bear head on that welding mask arrangement. And while I know it's axiomatic over at Henson that you never support any part of a costume with your head, that's an okay one, because it's literally like, it's a few ounces of stuff and fur. That's not too bad. Not too bad on one's neck. But yeah, I definitely need the head needs to be wider. Maybe that'll be a one-day build we do soon. I'll pull the bear costume down, walk back through it, fix it up. Oh, right. And then here is all of my sewing and problem solving for covering the bear head. And the whole reason there are all these different sections is because with each section, the hair runs in specific directions. That's the nap of the fur. And since I was going to be shaving the fur down, since the bear's face is an all 4-inch fur, I wanted where I shaved it for it to go to the right patterns. I'd spent a lot of time thinking about, like, petting my dog when I was making this, because you're like, you pet your dog, you become very familiar with the direction of hair on their face and their neck. And I was trying to use some of that knowledge for this bear head here. And the really nice thing that I learned about sewing fur from Rick Lyon, not only that trick of cutting it with a razor on the back, a super sharp razor, and never having to deal with little bits of synthetic hair over the place, but the other one is that you can build a complete pattern inside out. It's like you're wondering, how do I see the shape of something I'm making out of fur? Well, you can do it inside out and backwards, and you could see the full shape. It's really clear here that you're looking at a bear head. And when you turn it back the right side, you know that shape is underneath there. Yeah, so here I am pulling it back out again. And you can see I've already done some shaving. Well, this is old one-day build times when I would be, like, building while the camera people weren't here, and then they'd show up and we'd try and backfill. Norm is laughing behind the camera. All right, there's my little bear ears. Oh, super cute. I still have a ton of this beautiful fur. It's really good stuff. Yeah, I got to remake this head. I'm getting kind of excited about the idea of remaking this head now. That's how this kind of inspiration works. Just kind of crawl back over the old stuff, and every now and then you're like, gotta do it. Gotta do it again. Look at how good that looks right away. Right away, you're seeing it. Yeah. I've also left the jaw undone here because the jaw not being there gives me access to all these parts of the nose and the visibility part and anchoring and gluing this thing around the form. And it also gives me a place to hide those crimes, right? So I can use the empty space to kind of fold the thing under and stretch and basically goose it into the right orientation. And then that bottom jaw can go in and hide all of that work. It's great on a build like this to identify those places. For instance, you notice that I put the ears on before putting the head over, and that saved me a ton of engineering of trying to figure out exactly how to sew these ear cups onto this form, right? Like that wasn't going to be easy, and if I got it wrong, there'd be a bunchy part. Doing the ears as a separate thing underneath that it covered over, it hid a lot of engineering problems. Yeah, he looks pretty darn good. He also needs big, soulful eyes, I think. The bear that I'm going to make. I think he needs big... maybe he has blue eyes. A blue-eyed bear would be really creepy looking. Yeah, and he's got to have a nose. So, right, yeah. That's all of the... If you ever were in San Francisco and got to see the famous San Francisco show Beach Blanket Babylon, with the giant wigs and the giant hats. This thermal netting, we called it Buckram, it also has several other product names, is like the soul of the Beach Blanket Babylon prop and costume department. Like every wig had that underneath. Every costume had that as a structural framework because it's really nice and rigid, but it's only what it is. So you're getting a tremendous amount of structure for a very, very small amount of weight. It is funny seeing 5 year ago me. This is about 5 years ago? Yeah. Oh, that's a bear skull. My old girlfriend Tara gave me that bear skull. She bought it at the flea market in Chelsea in the mid-'80s and gave that to me for my birthday in 1989. Yeah, that's a great piece. Boy, did she know me, right? Here's a bear skull, young Adam. I can tell this is going to be a lifelong obsession. That head with the shoulders is a good staging head. Oh. I like how it looks like there's this unconscious bear on the floor behind me. That's very funny. Yeah, so there's my bear skull. It's a small bear. But it's funny how much a bear's skull looks like a dog, isn't it? There used to be this nightclub in New York called MK. And they had on the top floor, they had this red pool table in a room filled with lit cabinets filled with bones. And that's the inspiration for my display area here in the cave is that nightclub and all the times I spent playing pool on that red pool table. Was it bread or was it gold? It might have been gold on the top floor of that nightclub. Oh yeah, there's some of my bear mouth mechanics. I didn't put it in this mask, but I still have it up there. Where is it? Bear head? Yeah, yep. I don't ever throw anything out. Oh, his lips are genuine leather bear lips. Yep. That's a nose that I made out of ABS plastic, vacuum formed on my vacuum former. The mottled texture, I know it has an industry term of art name, but I can't ever remember what it is. That texture is right on the sheets of ABS, which makes it fantastic for doing something like a bear or dog nose, wolf nose. However, ABS is a nightmare to mold. Oh, you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that might be Kydex, not ABS. Kydex is the plastic that is used for gun holsters and knife holsters. It tends to be a lot more forgiving than ABS. Yeah, here I am using the Ah, that's it. The first one was ABS. Here's me actually doing it out of Kydex. I'm re-problem solving on the fly 5 years after the fact. But the thing about Kydex that's so great is huge amounts of workability with a heat gun. But you can get it very, very soft, but it's not close to melting. And that's different than styrene, which when it gets soft, you're very close to melting. That makes styrene fantastic because it pulls deeply over things, and Kydex and ABS have a little more trouble doing that. But what it also means is, like, when you're molding something like this, you can get the middle part and then come back in with the heat gun and keep on trying it, go around the edges, fix it up. I mean, you just have a lot more workability. Just got to make sure to protect your hands. Protect your hands. That looks really great. There we go. Heat gun. So a lesser considered of the maker tools, and yet a completely vital one. We don't talk about the heat guns a lot. They're not super glamorous, but they get the job done, man. Every maker in this frame should have a heat gun in their roster. The tongue comes out. I've been making stuff for 40 years. Still, got to stick that tongue out to concentrate. Yeah. Look at that. Again, you see how much that nose just over the rest of the hair hides all that problematic. It's great. Oh man. So this moment when you've like gone through all the effort to make the head and get the pattern right and then shave down the hair and stretch it over the form, and I pop the nose on, and I can tell you, like, when I did, it was so exciting. Like, you're waiting for that moment, and you're like, I wonder how this is gonna be. And you put it on, you're like, oh, that looks great. That looks wonderful. Yeah. Bears always got a little bit of a slate underbite. That's just a way in which their lower lip comes out that feels a little underbitey. The other great thing about that thermoplastic netting that is the understructure for the bear head is that when you use it with hot glue, you're using hot glue as a permanent solution, which is a rare thing for hot glue. It's not a permanent solution barely ever, except when you're like hot gluing cloth to that stuff. The twain shall never be rent asunder, as I like to say. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, just a lot of fitment issues, getting that in, getting that dialed in, making sure I had to actually add some structure to give myself something to press against in order to hold that lower jaw on. And now while it's drying, I'm holding it in place. Ooh, why did I pop the nose off? Just after I said it's a permanent solution, show me rocking, tearing it right off and then redoing it. Oh yeah, adding in lots of little bits of fur. The furring of stuff, doing a little bit of it like this, I can see here how bad my hair cutting is, how much you can see the cutting marks. And I think about like the institutional knowledge at a place like Mike Elizalde's place, Spectral Motion, or Rick Baker's old shop, or Steve Neal. The amount of knowledge those guys have and their shops that they've built over the years of the way fur lays across an animal's hide and how to make that work for camera. That's just stuff I don't know. And it's really clear to me how much I don't know when I watch this. I guess I'm remaking the nose because I didn't like it. Yeah, sometimes these kind of things take 3 or 4 tries. There used to be this heat gun at Industrial Light and Magic that Lauren Peterson loved. It was German, and it had this little output that was like this little tiny tube output, and you could guide where you wanted the heat gun to direct heat down to like this 1/4-inch area. It was pretty amazing. I'd like to see the bear jaw just chewing on its own tug in the background. Oh, yep, here comes my Oster clipper. This is the same clipper I use to groom Maggie when it gets too warm outside. It's a damn good clipper, man. There's a reason that like it hasn't changed in 40 years. Yeah, the underside of the jaw turns out to be really important, which I knew from my cosplaying as Chewie. Chewbacca's chin hairstyling is completely intrinsic to how Chewbacca looks, and you got to get it right. Oh, the epoxy system. Oh, I went on with a spring attachment for the nose. I forgot about that. Oh, lots and lots of different eyes. Yeah, that's definitely something I would do again. I had all these different animal eyes and doll eyes and dinosaur eyes. That looks totally bizarre. Yeah, that looks like a giant teddy bear. Yeah. A little better, but sort of like a robot assassin bear. Nope, same robot assassin bear. High as a kite bear. Yeah, amphetamine bear. Nope. He needs bigger eyes. Yeah, it's like that. But black eyes like a doll's eyes. Like Quint from Jaws. Yeah, I still don't necessarily have an opinion about what's the right eyes for this, because I don't think it's any of these. But yeah. Always a good thing to leave to last. Terrifying to place the eyes for once and for all, because when you get it wrong, man, you've made something that looks like it's from The Hills Have Eyes. And the difference between that and getting it right is like 1/8 of an inch of placement. It's really, really critical. And they've got to be bilaterally symmetrical, but not exactly perfectly bilaterally symmetrical, because no human or animal really is bilaterally symmetrical. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's really fascinating to me to look and see all the old storage solutions in my shop and just how much less stuff there was in it 5 years ago. So technically, what it tells me is that over the last 5 years, my shop hasn't gotten any bigger, but I've added a bunch of stuff to it, which means technically that it's gotten smaller at the same time as it's gotten more functional. Right, there's me getting that nose in there. I mean, the other aspect of making an animal head like this that blew my mind is when you start to realize that at a place like Legacy Effects or Spectral Motion, when they're making an animal head, it's like 10 or 12 people or more working on the thing, integrating their engineering. You've got someone on fur, someone on skin, someone on eyes, someone on lips, someone on molding, someone on hair cutting, I mean, all of that. And everyone has to make sure they're all not working at cross purposes with each other. It's easy to do that when you're working alone. Really, really difficult to do that in a large team of people. It's a project like this gives me way even more respect for the kind of thing that film shops do when they make animals. Yeah, he looks pretty okay. I mean, I think that what I'm laughing about here is like, yeah, that's about as good as I'm going to get. Sure. Yeah, see that bear head in the computer screen? It's much wider. Yeah, I think that's, there we go. I think I did okay with being able to see here in the eyes. It's not too obvious. I hate seeing where the operator is looking out of. That makes me crazy. It's not always avoidable, but I don't love it. Right, so here I'm putting in tape for the eyes because it's not just a one-time thing. You got to put something in, see how it works, take it off, try it, excuse me, try it again, try it repeatedly. Yeah, lots of little finessing and fitment to get the eyes right. You know, and the thing is that his fur is matted enough that it ends up looking like taxidermy. That's my problem with this execution of the head. And not that that's a bad thing. I mean, that's funny, right? A thing that's walking around that looks like it's taxidermy, that's inherently awful and awesome in a David Lynchian, David Cronenberg kind of way. But there is still a kind of a live animal veracity that I'd like to get with this. Wow, I forgot about this part. I'm sewing the eyelids of the bear. Damn. Yeah, right. Just those little things of like getting a little eye under pocket helps make it seem like it's more of a thing. Yeah, that's not bad. A little like a burn victim. Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, he might have gotten too close to the campfire. He looks okay. It's bedhead. For a first execution, I'm very proud of this bear head. And so now I'm going to do a little bit of darkening with some streaks and tips, which is a hair color that is one of the primary weathering tricks on a set crew. You can take it back off with rubbing alcohol. It's actually how a lot of R2-D2's weathering is done. There are many different colors. You can also spray it right on a light bulb because it's effectively heat proof. And it gives me, it's like, it's poor man's airbrush for sculpting the visual topography of the head. And when I'm doing something like this, I'm always just trying to pull out details so that I can see them all, right? Am I looking at the head? Do I have trouble seeing the ears? Okay, then maybe I want to darken at the base of the ear so they pop a little more. He's a big guy. Oh yeah, who's a big bear? Oh, the convex mirror that everyone was wondering how it broke. I still don't know. Still anybody's guess. Yeah. He looks good. He's a good-looking bear. We could go walking in Glen Park Canyon with this and scare the hell out of people. Bigfoot spotted at Glen Park Canyon. Ooh, little slow-mo action. Aw. Yeah. Yeah, see, the head's just, the head has a little bit of the 80s Godzilla about him. Right? Just a little bit small and stiff for the size of the body. Oh yeah, here's a cool suit that I was going to try out. I still have that one. It turned out that I didn't need it. The bear costume breathes quite well. All that area around you in the middle is really nice. And you can store all sorts of stuff back there. Oh yeah, trying to make sure I have communication inside the thing so I could talk to the team. Oh yeah. And getting back in the suit with all the stuff on. I think I could shorten some of the hair on the legs there. I don't think it should all be the same length. That's definitely clear. All right, I'm not in the arms yet. Yeah, there's very... Did we walk around? We did walk around the street. Oh, that's awesome. I took a walk around the mission. People were cool. I think one person walking by said, "Hey, Adam." Am I right about that? Yeah, at least one person totally could tell that it was me. Also, this is great. Life in the big city. Barely anyone is taking a look at me for more than a second. Who's that on the second camera? Is that Truman? I can't tell. Walking past Mission Police Station. Yeah. Bear spotted. Bears can just walk wherever they want, man. Got to watch out for those city bears. It's a very comfortable costume. It's like the Chewbacca costume or the Totoro in terms of not being super sweaty. There I am holding Leo. I will say that when I walked in, this is part of the vendor area, the vendors gave me an applause, which is like, that's a hardened, jaded group, man, and they've seen everything. But there was mad respect on the floor of Comic-Con for dragging around that Leo carcass. Oh, this is great time-lapse, watching it all come together. And I never tire of the weirdness of seeing that bear lying down on the floor of the shop. That's great looking. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we had visitors. Wow, it was such a different cave back then. Thank you guys for joining me for this walk down memory lane. And now I'm going to put on my list that fixing that bear costume and remaking that head is totally deserves a place on that list. Thanks for watching this live commentary. Please submit what live commentaries to videos that you would like to see, and we will endeavor to fulfill those wishes. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.